This is the 2012 Mercedes-Benz S350 Bluetech. It has a base price of $92,000. This one, as configured, is about $102,000, and I'll give you a quick overview of this car. It's got really aggressive styling on the front end. The back end doesn't really excite me near as much as the front. Kind of looks a little old man-esque. Maybe I should be another 10 to 15 years driving this car. Older, that is. But overall, it's still a very aesthetically looking, appealing car, and I think Mercedes has probably done a pretty good job considering its targeted demographic for this kind of a vehicle. So let's go inside and we'll go over some of the features. First of all, I want to point out that the car is running right now, but if the car is not running, you have the car locked and you have the key in your pocket. Of course, as soon as you go to grab the door handle, the doors will unlock. So just kind of got a little feature that way. One side. So the first thing that struck me when I first sat in this car is the fact that Mercedes really designed this car, frankly, to be the utmost in comfort, quietness, and ultimately safety. And they also did a good job of the powertrain, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So just looking around the cabin here, you can see that they put some really nice materials in it, including some wood trim, some really nice tactical feel to the plastic here, and this stitched cloth material that's on the dash feels really nice. Even this harder surface has a pretty good feel to it. So both front seats are heated, and they will also cool. As you can see, there's individual controls for the front passenger seats, and as a bonus, the rear passengers also get their own fully adjustable seats that also heat and cool. So very comfy for all four passengers. Of course, there is technically a fifth passenger option if you want to be seated in the middle, rather. And then if you're not, that middle armrest does fold down and double as with some drink holders and that kind of stuff. So you can also notice that it does have retractable headrests for all three passengers. And like I said earlier, the outboard seats are fully adjustable and heated and are cooled. Plenty of legroom back there. No problem getting four full-size adults in the sedan with plenty of legroom to spare. A couple features I wanted to point out here have mainly to do with this command console system. That is the entertainment system, it's the Bluetooth, and of course the navigation as well. You can see there's the map, and it's controlled all by this little knob here, which has kind of become a staple in the Mercedes lineup of cars. Of course, I had the E550 last year that had the same style of dial, and you just kind of jock it through the different positions, and there's the audio. But let's get to the fun stuff. So I'm going to go to the vehicle here. Now currently I have it on the contoured seat mode. I'm going to go ahead and go to the driver's seat, which it's on right now, and you can see I can adjust pretty much every aspect of this seat. Get that one dialed in where I want it. And here's the one I really love. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the old massage here. Now it's interesting, I got it set to fast and vigorous, but God, it doesn't feel too fast for me. It'd be nice if they could find a way to speed that up maybe in future models, but I do really like the massage effect, especially on some of the longer trips that you might take in a sedan like this. So of course that is for the driver's and passenger seat, the same kind of control. And then the other thing I wanted to point out here too that's kind of neat to the Mercedes is, let's go back to vehicle, turn that off, is this right here. There's a system here called active bolsters, and it's called, or are they called dynamic seat. I got to set the 2, which is the most aggressive. So as you go into corners, the opposite bolster will inflate and deflate through the corner. So of course, as you go into the corner nice and hard, you'll feel the opposite bolster inflate to help keep you in position of the seat, and then deflate as you exit the corner. So that's very neat. It takes a little bit to kind of take you by surprise the first time it does it, but after driving this car for over a week now, I have become quite accustomed to it, and I will greatly miss that feature, and it's something that I wish all cars would soon adapt. So there is a sport handling mode here that I have enabled, and disabling that will go to the regular mode for more comfort, and it does have air coil suspension to accommodate that. So looking over here at the dash, it is a digital dashboard with an analog look to it, which I kind of appreciate, and it's got quite a variety of information here. You can scroll through all these different systems here with the buttons here on the steering wheel, and of course here over here on the steering wheel is the controls for the audio and the Bluetooth. So overall, Mercedes has done a very admirable job with this car. Again, at a sticker price of $102,000, it's definitely going to be for the more affluent buyer, somebody that probably is going to lease a car, and or maybe somebody that just has a lot of cash, they just want to keep her. This car also does feature the Mercedes 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, which works, which I'm told anyway, I didn't get a chance to experience because I didn't go through any snow, but essentially it auto senses where it needs to place the torque, depending on what wheels have traction, even if it's only one wheel at that particular time. So very seamless to the driver. There's no interaction that you need to worry about. It just kind of does what it needs to do to ensure that the car always has traction. So kudos to Mercedes on that. Well, I've driven it through the rain, it's about all I can say, and it seemed to work well. I never spin any tires. So you know, it's interesting to point out the fact that this is a diesel and it is rated at 31 miles a gallon on the highway. In real world, I actually got closer to about 35, 36, just setting the cruise control, and it's very exceptional for a car that weighs a little over 4,200 pounds. So once again, Mercedes has done a good job with its Bluetech diesel technology. One other feature I wanted to point out is the active blind spot indicators. You can see the little triangle there that's lit up in the side mirror, and assuming there was somebody over there, that would glow red, and if you try to get over whatever, it would beep at you. So very handy in that regard. This car does feature adaptive cruise control. Mercedes has a little bit different name, and they call it Distronic Plus. You set that with this knob here, and of course this lets you adjust the how many feet you want to maintain between the vehicle in front of you. It does work very well. The car will do whatever it needs to maintain that distance at a that safe distance that you predefined using this adjustment right here. And so if it has to apply brakes or gas, whatever it needs to do to safely hold whatever predetermined speed that you set, it will do, even if it has to, but more importantly, it will maintain the distance. So very handy in stop and go traffic. All you have to do is set it. Say, for example, this, you know, on a morning commute, I want to set it up to 65, whatever. It'll hold 65, no problem. And if somebody gets in front of me, or if if somebody's going slow and you come up on them, it will slightly brake to hold the distance, and it works very well. In fact, you can follow somebody right off the off ramp up to the stop sign, and the car will come to a complete stop all on its own. And of course, once they move, the car will slowly start moving ahead as well. So very neat feature. I know some of the other higher end vehicles also feature that, and it's definitely something I think people can get used to and appreciate, especially if you're in a lot of stop and go traffic in the morning commutes or on the way home, or heck, even just out for a nice country drive and you get a bunch of ninnies out in front of you that slow you down. So once again, good job to Mercedes on incorporating that feature. So overall, I really enjoyed this car. It does handle very well, considering it's not really technically truly a sports sedan. I mean, I know Mercedes likes to kind of bill it as it is, but it does get off the line really quick. I know Car and Driver got a 0 to 60 time in roughly about 7 seconds, which when you consider the fuel economy, it gets 31. Like I said, I got 35, 36, and it still got that kind of performance off the line. You can't complain. It's not going to break any speed records once it gets up to speed, however, because it does only have 240 horsepower. So it's kind of a trade-off, something to consider if you're in the market for a higher-end sedan, specifically the S series. There's also the S500 and S600 to consider, so you might want to weigh those options when you go to test drive it at your local Mercedes dealer. Overall, I think Mercedes has a winner on its hand in this price category. Everything worked very well. Good headlight system that also pivot slightly when you turn. I felt very safe in this car. A couple things, or a couple negatives that I would like to point out, however, is the fact that I had some issues with the phone, the Bluetooth on the phone dropping sync with the car while I was driving, and it would just automatically resync, and it would do that sporadically. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And of course, in such a quiet car, that the loud blinker, I was like, wow. In a car that's you could hear a pin drop going 80, and I could not believe they incorporated such a loud blinker. So hopefully, once again, that they will fix that in future models. But if you're in the market for a high-end sedan that will help you feel refreshed after a nice long drive, and it seats 4 extremely comfortably, then I would highly recommend a test drive of the S Series Mercedes. And if you want to save some fuel, then check out the Bluetech with the V6. I'm telling you, offline performance is you know, right up there with some of the V8s and competitive models. So I think Mercedes has done a great job, and I look forward to seeing what else they can do with the old diesel technology. I hope it gets more widely adapted here in the States. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on the road. I'm going to try to give you an idea of how quiet this car is once it gets up to speed here. There's that nice torque kicking in, gets you right up to speed. And again, you know, inside the cabin, does not at all sound like a diesel. I know maybe when I was outside you can kind of hear the diesel motor a little bit, but Mercedes has done an exceptionally good job of quieting the whole system. And I'm going 55 right now, and it's whisper quiet. You can hear me talking rather comfortably, and